that were scarred by your tardiness. You gonna blame the scarring on us?
Yeah, man.
Okay, cool.
We got to get that shit out for a while.
You ain't even apologized yet.
That is so estrogenically feasible.
Estrogenically. I will stare at you pharmaconically now.
That's hilarious. What's up, Chris? Good to meet you.
That's Jeff Brown. He is our local intellectual irritant.
That's a perfect phrase.
That's how he gets down.
No, I felt it. In a good way, though.
I felt the irritation.
It's a good
thing, though.
irritant.
We need another chair for Jeff, for sure.
And by the way, this is Eric, everybody.
Eric, what up, Pam? Welcome to the Get Down. Eric, we talk hella reckless. So, I'm just gonna let you know right now. We talk reckless than a mug. We don't know how you gonna feel about it, Eric, but shit ain't gonna be cool, Eric. It just ain't gonna be cool. So
Eric alone.
we want you to be able to just roll with what's going on.
Like,
before just this
It's just gonna fly out.
10,000 push-ups.
Hold on. Okay, get right here, Jeff. Shit. I love Jeff. Jeff said, excuse me, 10,000 push-ups. You gotta move, punk. That's like the family member that's late and then the friend you brought over gotta get up. I love that. Hey, you got to move, pimp.
All the
He family and you got to move.
In 33
You not.
minutes.
Don't come down.
How steep was the
They come
hill?
down to day.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good, though. Uphill? Hate that shit.
Yeah.
In the shop.
where's the camera? That is, yes. Yeah.
My God.
No judge required.
That is his child.
He said no judge required.
He made her.
You said in the garage?
He said no judge required. That was funny.
That's my baby.
Yes, sir. That's my
mine.
baby.
Where we gonna plug it at? See, I'm tired of you coming in here with these Walmart
Good. You've been working out
extensions.
on a steady basis for a while.
You might have to go there.
I hate running.
I just need you to get it out of my shot.
For 2.5 hours.
It's in my shot right now.
I hate it, man.
Yeah, because yeah, we're gonna be good.
Right.
Let's stay home.
I know, both of y'all.
Something just ain't right.
Here we go.
From the Keith Sweat side of the game.
Something.
Oh,
Now all that is good. In the name of Jesus.
something.
Yeah.
That almost sounded like part of the track. It was organic.
All right. We got 3 minutes before we go live. Let's do this.
Shot right.
Yeah.
Keep it hot and tight.
Okay, let me move some of my things.
Could you? Could you stop thinking about you for a minute?
We got 2 minutes.
That damn James Broadway ain't no good. He ain't no good.
Yeah, he pisses me off on a regular. Somebody said, Jeff, you on time? Yep.
Yeah.
We're not the only people flabbergasted.
Okay. I don't think I'm arguing that. You're allowed to be flabbergasted.
Jeff, first off, let me just say this.
If you still
I'm just gonna
flabbergasted
say
by the
this.
4th of
Jeff,
July now.
I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna end mine.
No, you're gonna end what?
I'm gonna end mine.
That's disgusting.
Okay.
Very disgusting.
Don't get mad.
I'm not.
Oh, that's it.
That's just here. That's fine.
Don't get mad, Jeff.
What part of this registers as anger?
Okay, it doesn't. Okay, maybe it's not anger.
No.
What would you call it, Kev?
You're just dragging.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, some dragon
60 seconds.
Don't make me drive your family out into the cold prairie.
They said Jeff brought his own extension cord.
Yes. I learned from last week. This was what happened when you start meditating.
Oh, shit.
It's meditating.
11 o'clock. Here we go. Adita, we ready?
Ain't just smoke
Are we live
weed.
right now?
Smoke weed and meditate.
You don't want to tell me before we go live so I can be ready to say, hey, welcome to the ZoWhat Morning Show. Jeez, thanks, Adita. We over here talking.
Don't worry about it.
They'll figure it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ZoWhat
Adita Apple Boom, you got to put us on.
You just not gonna let me finish?
No, not at all.
You know, okay.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
See, I think the worst thing I've ever done was give Jeff a show.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done it. You never should have done it. I don't know what you were thinking.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe Williams is in the building with a crew of people to discuss some pressing issues, world issues. The ZoWhat Morning Show is famous for said discussions. And I got a lot of emails. I got a lot of people reaching out to me talking about we need to do another current event show. You under dig? So we about to dig Doug up in the current events.
Dig Doug. Who remember that shit?
Remember Dig Doug?
Yeah.
Boy, we got Dig Doug downstairs.
Oh, shit.
For real, Dig Doug. Okay.
If somebody want it, if somebody want to take it in the face, we can go downstairs and play some Dig Doug right now. Well, not right now, about 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah, righty. So listen. The phone lines are open if you guys want to chime in. We got topics. We got all kind of things to be discussed. We have a special guest in the building. Man, it's about to go down in the town. Get to your phone lines. The number to dial is 323-230. Live.
They will find it.
Yeah, the dial is 323-230. 4445. All right. So let's do what we
let them read.
Let's do what we do normally. And that's promote businesses. Timmy Tight Top, Buffaloophagus.
I'm here always. Always in the house trying to promote.
10,000 push-ups, as Jeff calls them. You like Buffaloophagus?
Hey.
That's your classification. So brotherous Buffaloophagus.
Buffaloophagus.
Sound like some
founder
Street.
of Weed Juice. Hey, what kind of deals do you have for Weed Juice right now,
So we still have the 10% special. We always have that 10% for people that want to buy juice. As long as you support, I'm going to give you 10% all day, every day.
Man,
You know?
that's
But
the look.
we got this good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Activated charcoal, lemon, and alkaline water.
Yes.
See, this is that old bougie Whole Foods type. Gelson.
If you've been eating bull, excellent for detoxify.
Wow.
It's one of
Weed
the best things
juice.
for your body because it helps detoxify.
And you want to speak into the mic?
It actually combines with your toxins. That's what they give people when you overdose. They go to the hospital. They give you that activated charcoal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've had that. Yeah.
That's when you've overdosed? It's cool.
No, 2 days ago.
Charcoal absorbs poison. So charcoal absorbs poison.
Yes, charcoal is negatively. Charcoal has a
absorb an
negative
X?
charge.
How did they discover that that's a thing?
thousands of years ago, bro. Our people discovered activated
perfect.
charcoal. It's gonna be a lot of that, Eric.
It was the Moors.
was the Moors, yeah.
Let's just, all right, let's just fall back a taste.
Whenever you can't figure it out, who invented the beeper? It's black people.
So, so one more time, WeJuice, OUIJUIC.com.
JUICE.com.
Okay, if you were going to respell it after I did it, you should have did it as good as I did it.
Or you can also call me at 323-864-4425. Yes, I should have did it better than you, but you know how to spell better than me, I guess.
Clearly. Thank you for the Wee Juices, man. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, I got to say, you know I got re-upped on the Total Package Energy, so these are for you guys if you'd like to have some.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I got re-upped. I got a couple of
Your mood's
boxes.
better.
Shut up. Total Package Energy is the best energy shot in the freaking world. We sold 100 cases.
What?
The dude called me and said for the month of March, we helped him move 100 cases.
Okay.
I was real excited about that.
His ass need to be stopped being late with your cases then.
Hey, Jeff, don't you say nothing in the community. Total Package Energy, oral enhancer, you don't get no jitters. Listen, the guy who created this, I got to just give a little brief history. This is not some backyard moonshine energy juice. This is not.
When you
Hey, 2 shots a day.
That's what I'm talking
But
about.
the guy who created it is a trainer. He trains NBA, NFL, MLB guys. Gets them in tip-top condition. One of the guys he trains is Damon Lillard, Jamar DeRozan, all these guys.
Wow.
He trained my son. And he owned what we own.
The young lion.
He up in Oakland, metaphysics and spirituality and all types of he owned it. So he was like, man, I got this energy drink that's good for the athlete. I said, what? I said, man, let me try it. Let me tell you right now, don't try this shit in the evening. Don't try it in the evening.
Why? What happens?
You're going to watch 387 movies.
All right.
You're not going to bed.
This house needs a painting.
Right.
And know what happened in every one of them.
This is the real deal. A lot of people that have been giving me the feedback on it. They love it. TotalPackageEnergy.com. Go there. Tell them Zoe sent you. Also, you can't not get my latest CD. My latest relationship CD is blowing up too.
You got to do it.
Love Matters Revealed. Myself and Dr. Alan Berger. This CD is crazy. It's a structured conversation that navigates people through conflict maintenance in relationships. I keep telling people, there's no such thing as conflict resolution. You're not going to resolve shit, okay? What you can do is maintain the shit you don't understand right now.
Yeah.
No. Clinicians have come out and said it. 69% of all relationship conflict goes unresolved.
You got to figure out how to put a pin in some of this shit.
Right. So let's table this, right? And be okay with not, because sometimes you need another, like if you could see it from God's perspective, you might need 3 more experiences before you get an answer for what you're going through right now.
Ooh, how we gonna answer something we both don't? How we gonna
Do you see what I'm
solve something
saying?
we both don't have the answer to yet?
So it doesn't mean there are no answers. It just means
Yo ass ain't got it.
you don't have them right now. And a lot of people feel like the relationship is over if they can't resolve something right now. And no,
Wow.
just means you got to live a little. You know what Big Mama used to say? You can
Live
keep
a little,
living.
baby. Live a little.
Keep living, you understand? You want to understand some shit? Keep living. You get what I'm
So
saying?
how do you maintain in the meantime? Don't give away the whole product, but
Well, no.
How do you maintain in the
here's
meantime?
the meantime is this, and I don't mind giving away the whole product. Fuck it.
good because I didn't bring any money.
No, the meantime is this. Understand when you're at an impasse that's impassable in the moment. A lot of people be like, hell. That's trying to force the answer, trying to force. There's going to be resistance. So sometimes walking away from a situation, tabling a situation with the intent on living a little longer to come back to it is the best conflict resolution you understand? Well, I got it. Okay, Nick. Okay, cool. All right. Go to my website, IamZoWilliams.com. How to stick the landing when the is now available.
What?
And I didn't put on Barnes and Nobles.
How'd you do that? That's right.
Never know. Create space. So again, get your copy of The Relationship Dismount, How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship. We got somebody in the studio right now that I got to give some love to.
Yes, sir.
My man came in here with his book. This is going to be our topic in the second half of the show.
Box?
Crushing the Box.
I love the title.
10 essential rules for breaking essential rules. This motherfucker like me, goddammit. Here we go.
You made it sound.
You dig? 10 essential rules for saying fuck it.
That's right.
That was the alternate title. We,
Right.
Yeah, that wasn't quite the title.
Melville wasn't feeling that one.
Rules are for followers.
Listen, man, this is going to be nice, man. We're going to really get into this right now. This is going to be very, very dope. Chris, where can they find this book, man?
Amazon.com. #1 bestseller.
Look at that.
3 categories.
Look at that. Look at that.
Or my website, www.thecrush.co.
Look at that.
I haven't big up to Barnes and Noble yet, but I'm looking to do it.
I'm gonna have to make some phone calls.
Get you in the game.
You better talk to Noble, because Barnes ain't shit.
No. We appreciate you for coming in and joining the topics, man. It's gonna be crazy. Kev, I know you got something to promote. Let's get to it real quick, and then current events.
Current events. Yeah, guys, if you have not checked out the documentaries I did, The Face of the Dragon, and also the Wordplay series, where I'm breaking down the etymology or the history and energy that a word is created with so that you know what you're saying when you speak, go over to Real Nagas, or excuse me, the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Real Nagas, and check. But if you want to check out the Golden Phoenix series of information that I'm putting out, that's only going to be on the Patreon channel. That's patreon.com/Real Nagas. And the next series I'm doing is a series on symbolism. So check that out. I'm putting that out about next week.
I'm gonna just say this right now. You sound real elitist.
I am.
There's a reason.
We want to correct the words you're using, you dumb fucks.
I'm Joffrey Joffa from
My son what?
My son what?
You're beneath me, and so is his daughter.
You ain't got enough money to buy me, Jack. Nonsense.
Nonsense.
Favorite line in that movie.
All right, listen, we're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back,
Oh, shit.
current events. We'll be back in 2.2.
crushing the box. 10 essential rules. Essential rules.
First and foremost, it's the power of art. The reaction that you have when you watch an amazing piece of theater, or you see an amazing painting, and it rips you apart. You listen to an anthemic piece of music, you know, an orchestra or a song that you can't get the hook out of your head for years, you know. Art has an infectious, indelible power over us.
Right.
And so that's at the root of what I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the homeboy, Chris Denson's work, Crushing the Box.
Crushing the box. All right.
You know, there's a double entendre in there somewhere, but we'll leave it be for now.
Could we please? 'Cause
Yo, we in the building, man. This is about to go down in the town. Put our instrumentals back on, sweetheart. Listen, the ZoWhat Morning Show has some incredible topics for you guys today. It's a lot going on. What should I start with? Let's go to the
if we must.
Dentistry, Catholic, understand that. Baptists, all of the different
Abrahamics.
sects, all of that comes out of the Catholic Church when we talk about the Western Church, right? The Western Church. We're not talking about Ethiopia,
Right.
right?
Yep.
We're not talking about Ethiopia. That's the oldest church. But when it comes to the Western Church, hallelujah.
Hold it above question.
And if that's true, the pontiff, the vicar of God, not with 10,000 men could you do this.
That's right.
This motherfucker just
The
told
boy
us.
toucher.
Oh, gee. Listen, I'm just saying, the man has sanctioned a lot of things. He basically came out and said hell doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And now the Vatican is scrambling, all right? According to The Guardian, the Vatican has scrambled to clarify comments made by Pope Francis to a well-known Italian journalist that appeared to deny the existence of hell.
Wow.
Did he say it or did it appear to deny?
No, he said it.
Oh, okay.
He said it doesn't exist. It's a state of mind. And you know,
is.
he went there.
Good morning, everyone. There is no hell. Where is my tea?
Yes, he went there. And here's the thing. Oh, God, this is bad. Because now you're left in a trick bag if you want to stay Christian. Do I keep endorsing the fact that if there's no hell, this is a logical line, there ain't no devil? Now you're going to ruin some things.
fucking
Now
up.
you're fucking up.
Wait a
You
second.
better not take that devil from us now.
Fucking up my tithing.
If it ain't no,
We need the devil.
if it ain't no devil,
If it ain't no
then who was that tempted Jesus? Next, you're gonna tell me what no Jesus.
You see the domino effects?
Whoops. Had
How
no
do-
Jesus.
How do we reconcile this for the Pope? Because now they're scrambling.
Well, he's not the only pope that said that. About 20 years ago,
Name another Pope.
Pope John Paul II. He
John Paul said
He
it?
said it in '96.
What did he say?
So I was talking to my homeboy's little brother, and they're real Christian. And so I was telling him how there was no heaven, and heaven was a state of mind and stuff like this. And he just wouldn't believe me.
You start
And so,
shaking blessed oil over me and shit.
I'm sitting there trying to break it down. He just would not buy it. So the 4 o'clock news came on right behind us, and it was on TV. And the first news story was Pope John Paul says that there is no hell.
Wow.
So then it came on, and he says that hell was a place like when he was breaking down how it was called Gehenna, and it was a place where they burnt like prisoners and stuff.
Wait,
in
the
this little
word
pit.
was what?
Gehenna. So when they talk about Armageddon and places like that, and so there's a place called Gehenna where they used to burn people in a pit like the old criminals and stuff like that. And that's where the picture of hell came from, because to burn people in this pit. But he was like, there is no actual hell. He's like, it's more like purgatory. He's like, if you want to know what heaven and hell really is like, watch the movie What Dreams May Come. He said that's probably the closest thing that
I remember that movie. That was a cold
That's an
movie.
amazing movie.
Chris,
I'm just wondering, what version are we talking about? Because like you said, it's part of it is in your mind, right? Like hell is a state of mind, but also, do we even know? Like, do we know what's beyond? Even does the Pope know? Can he sign off and say that that this doesn't exist?
Right.
Because
Like I
he's still a
said.
man. That's what we're forgetting.
Exactly.
No, but he can say this. He can say, I'm not sure there's anything on the other side, but me and some other motherfuckers made this shit up.
There you go.
He can say that. I can't tell you for sure that there isn't a green-eyed, six-headed monster that eats children. But I can tell you for sure that I made it up to say to some kids to get them to go to bed.
Like he was saying,
Right.
the version of hell where people get the idea of people burning in a
Right,
hell.
their version.
It comes from this place called Gehenna, where they burn
wait a minute.
people in a pit.
What about the story that the Catholic Church co-opted the concept of hell from Dante's Inferno?
Damn, there's that.
That is true.
Yeah.
So if y'all got, if you got it from there, that means you didn't have a description of hell.
Isn't it also like the number of reference points, right? So when you look at the life of Jesus, and when it comes to any sort of religion, and they compare it to Buddha or whomever, it's there. I think there's 20,000 written, accounts of the life of Jesus, including encounters with the devil, or including X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So when you look at the vantage and the evidence, where do you get the most support? I don't know how many people, read Dante's Inferno before the Catholic Church. Is like,
Right.
We should use this.
Well,
Right.
I don't know if it's about numbers as much as it is key people. It's not about whether millions of people saw it or read it. It's about the pimps that put the game together. What did they read?
Nicene Council.
Yeah, the Nicene Council. Yeah, them dudes. That's why I don't argue anymore the Bible and its topics with people.
Yeah, you do.
Who can't.
You can't help but argue. You
I'm
love
going to
arguing.
kung fu you. It ain't going to be kung fu. It's going to be on some big mama, just
to argue.
the blind backhand. Where sometimes my big mama was great. It was always right here. I never got that. Or she just
Right in the middle of the
She
head.
had that distance. Anyway,
Don't you ever speak while I'm talking.
oh my God, you just channeled her. That was crazy. I like to ask these three questions of Bible thumpers whenever, yes, young lady, you, this is a nugget for you. Whenever someone quotes you scripture from the King James Version of the Bible, ask these three questions. Very interesting. One, what did it say right after that? What did it say right before that?
Yeah.
And who were they talking to? That's three questions that generally,
Jeff, don't do it.
9 times out of 9, they can't answer because they telling you some shit that somebody told them.
Yep.
Right.
They don't have any fucking idea. And my chief problem with heaven, hell, the Bible, and all of this is, I say it again, the biggest difference between black Christians and Marvel comic fans is that Marvel comic fans don't deny the existence of Stan Lee.
Okay.
Black Christians, I get Council of Nicaea, what? That's Dionysus, huh? The Dead Sea Scrolls, I don't know anything about that.
Right. No, none of that.
God
matters.
is hope and Jesus is the way.
But what
Hold it
about?
That's what I know.
The thing that's crazy to me is there's a real problem of homosexuality and pedophilia
Yeah.
in the church,
Oh, absolutely.
in the Catholic Church specifically.
Yeah.
When the Pope's secretary comes out,
I said,
look, it's some things.
it smell
being
like
cut.
boy ass in here all the time.
Smell like boy pudding.
Boy,
underneath the robes.
Boy pudding?
I'm just saying, we're over the top here. But let's come back. But I'm saying, before you even talk about hell or anything, you would think they would have to reconcile some of the moral issues that are in front of them right now. Could it be coming out to say that there is no hell is like pardon the pun, the backdoor way
Yeah.
to justifying some of the immoral activity.
Yep. Niggas
Well, it loosens the morale. No pun intended. It loosens the morality. Sorry, but because that's the first place I went. Is like, where's the ethical lines being drawn? Like, does this give people who hear that statement and go like, okay, now nothing I do actually has any consequences in the greater scheme of things?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we all fear some form of punishment consequence from actions, and if there's no like ultimate consequence, you may put me in jail, but I'm not gonna burn forever, right, and have my skin torn off for an eternity.
Right. The irony is that's supposed to be the seat of the compass of morality as it pertains to Christianity.
And I don't see how it's been helping.
Wow.
I don't see the people who seem to do the most dirt don't seem to have any fear of this fake hell at all.
That's the extreme motherfuckers.
That's because
it keep the other motherfuckers who aren't as extreme. It keep them in line.
No, that's because Christianity has the perfect loophole. Dirt, then ask for forgiveness.
How about it, baby?
We good after we ask for forgiveness. It don't matter what we do.
Here's the problem. You don't
Confessions.
Here's the problem.
But if you go to a lot of like non-denominational churches, like they don't talk about hell. They talk about like being a good, just being a good person is rooted in what's in the Bible, which is just a guidebook at the end of the day.
Right.
It's, you know, and yes, there are some things like I watched this whole thing probably on Nat Geo about about just the rules that were given to sailors. It was just some of these things are like truths in the Bible, and it was everything from what they're supposed to eat at sea and what causes nausea and like all these things that the Navy actually uses. You know, like the modern military, you know, organizations still use. So whether it's how the world operates or how you should be a fellow man, a fellow citizen, that's the guidebook. And so I haven't heard a lot about hell in church lately, right?
I haven't heard about it my whole life.
Right. Well, that's how I grew up, right? I grew up Baptist.
You gonna burn in hell, boy.
You
Yeah, you know what? Hell is kind of on the back burner, but in church right now. Oh, that's a nice pun. But
Let's on the back burner.
the Bible got truth in it the way Kool-Aid got water in it. Okay. There are different places you can get your water. That's all I'm saying. And that
that's good. That's good.
Here's the problem: is that Christians try to sell you the Bible with the same tenets that clear water has, like the earth is 3/4 covered with Kool-Aid, and that you need to drink a gallon of Kool-Aid a day in order to stay in church. No, nigga, no. I can get just as much truth out of episode number 92 of The Amazing Spider-Man.
Another Marvel reference.
Yes,
I'm fucking with that.
Okay. Yes. Why not use Marvel references? You got people with powers. You got people that's trying to hide their real identities. You got why not? I think it's a great. Okay. You got people that's real. You got people that's fake. You got people got everybody strong got a weakness. Why not preach out of Marvel?
Hey.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, that was our take on that shit.
And then with Spider Jesus.
Spider Jesus. Who said Spider
With
Jesus?
great webbing
You said it technically.
comes great responsibility.
You get a hug.
Spider Jesus. Iron Christ.
You don't get.
Iron Christ.
Okay. Y'all don't understand. I was gonna leave this. I was gonna try not to let the cat out the bag till Wednesday. I just sold a show to Kevin Hart. I'm working on a show.
You wanted to say this
I've
anyway.
been writing books. If you don't think you gonna see the adventures of Spider Jesus and Iron Christ, nigga, what?
Spider Jesus and
Spider
Iron
Jesus
Christ.
and Iron Christ?
Hold it above Hold it above shot.
Like Shazam, that's how Spider Jesus turned.
Hold it above
Hold it above those shot, bam, and then he turns into Iron Christ. I'm like, oh shit.
Okay, so look, we got another one after Jeff's rants.
Iron Christ.
He has micro rants, so we have to.
weakness is water, because iron rusts with. Oh man, what?
You can't
Why did he
baptize.
walk on water? Because he can't get in it. Because he iron.
Jeff,
Brilliant.
Jeff, allow us to come back.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's just fucking brilliant.
You're gonna have to keep your brilliance to yourself. Stop playing your video games and write down your notes. Jeez. All right.
Spider Jesus and Iron Christ.
So look, we've got another topic. If you're just tuning in to the ZoWhat Morning Show, we in here turned up. My homeboy guest Chris Denson.
High off total package.
That
apparently.
total package is working, ain't it?
Yes, yeah,
I'm trying to tell you.
Pretty good.
Spider
Yeah.
Jesus.
Listen, I got another great current event here.
Of course you do.
National Geographic. Now, you know I'm pissed off,
Oh, shit.
but happy at the same time. What was the name of that movie that was in ancient Egypt but had all white people? And Chadwick Boseman.
Gods of Egypt.
Gods of Egypt. And you know, everybody was mad when that movie came out because they were talking about, you know, the ethnicity of the Egyptians.
Oh, yeah. And how they have British accents?
But the God of wisdom was melanated.
No, it was Chadwick
God, yeah.
Boseman, right? But we're not talking about him. It was one god out of 15.
Yeah.
But he was the main God.
The rest of
If
them.
you know who them gods are, though, you know that Thoth was.
But that ain't the
is
point.
one.
That ain't the point.
take,
We talking about goddamn
yes.
Cleopatra. As far back as Cleopatra
Come
being
on, man.
That was on there.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, that was on
Come
there
on.
the other night.
Come on, that make about as much sense as going 600 years in the future and having somebody explain to you that there were a couple of really good guys in the NBA that were black, but the rest were white. The fuck out of here.
There's a rumor.
So listen,
National.
National Geographic reckons with its past. For decades, our coverage was racist. If National Geographic's April issue was going to be entirely devoted to the subject of race, the magazine decided it had better take a good hard look at its own history. Editor-in-chief Susan Goldberg asked John Edwin Mason, ding, 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 conspiracy, sorry, a professor of African history and the history of photography at the University of Virginia, to dive into the magazine's nearly 130-year archive and back. What Mason found was a long tradition of racism in the magazine's coverage, in its text, in its choice of subjects, and in its famed photography. So let's just... So you know, the History Channel is another thing that fucks with me, you know. We're going to talk about Ramses, and then we're going to make Ramses white, right? Or we're going to talk about Cleopatra, she'll be white. Or we're going to talk about King Tut, he's going to be white. And then you see, just recently, who's my guy? I used to watch his show, too. The little treasure hunter dude. This white guy that was on Good Morning America that unveiled the new bust of Nefertiti, and she was as white as loose leaf paper.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This just happened like a month ago
Yeah.
on Good Day America.
Got Nefertiti looking like Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, we've just, you know, with DNA and forensics, and we've created the new. First
Right.
off, let me tell you something about them African artisans in ancient Egypt. They were pretty goddamn good at it.
Thank you.
How about it?
They kind of knew how to depict.
It's already depictions. Yeah, it's already depictions.
That's who they are.
Since the people they were depicting were kind of right there.
Right. We're gonna do this in stone too, by the way.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
pretty damn good at it.
Yeah, we're gonna fuck up in stone. Okay. Yeah.
Then you get motherfuckers coming to Egypt saying, "This is amazing." My God,
What did they say?
this is amazing.
Under their breath. So
Under their breath,
somebody
though.
will hear it.
Because you know how white is.
Oh, yeah.
See, white can't give you compliments without going, God damn it.
Damn it, man.
Shit, we can't let them know we're admiring. Right? Look at Black Panther. Fuck, it's out the bag now.
No compliments until no compliments until we figure out how to steal it.
We're gonna have to make Chadwick Boseman's part a little bigger. Fuck. It's over. Jesus, $1.2 billion. This shit might be bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know how they do under the breath. This shit might be bigger than anything we've ever done. The fuck is going on?
And it was.
But do you see what I'm saying? Somebody came there and knocked noses off.
How about it? How about it?
Yeah.
Knocked noses smooth off.
And not just off of temples, off of the the little stone carvings,
Statuettes, everything.
Nose is gone.
We're talking literally like knock the noses off.
Knock
Chisel them off.
noses.
Wow.
We're gonna chip. We're gonna chip all the Leon Spinks out your history.
You get it? So again, I can't say these people are great. I can't even say this is Africa anymore. We're gonna say this is the Middle East.
Damn.
We can't even call this Africa. So to get this nugget from National Geographic, I think is significant because they've made an effort, a concerted effort to separate Africa from Egypt for one reason. You know what that reason is?
What's the reason, sir?
We can't worship the oppressed.
God damn.
These are people we oppress.
Wow.
We
How does-
can't
how does
flip
that
around
work?
and then worship them
They don't
outwardly.
don't
So
want you
what
to
we
realize
gonna say is that ain't you. And since you're no longer the authority, what we say goes. That ain't you. That's us.
They didn't want you to be able to grasp onto something and understand who you were and then rise to that level again too. That's part of it.
So wait, what's the next step? You come out and you say, "Hey, we're racist. Good night." or
You know how they get down?
Or
White folk
is there
do that.
like is there some effort to course correct?
We've been racist, big fucking deal. And now to weather.
Right.
But see, you got to remember, racism is a political construct.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So to come out and say, like, you asked such a powerful question, Chris. What next? That is next. We said it. Because we're not finna give up no power.
No.
We just said it.
We'll
now,
give you
we'll
money.
just tell you.
We'll
Just
give
own
you
it
money,
rather than-
popularity. We'll
Look,
give you
yeah.
status, but we're not gonna give you power.
Well, you started this thing off with the fact that it's bittersweet, right? It's,
Right.
Of come clean, tell us what's up, right? But at the same time, it's like,
I'm not gonna change anything.
right.
Because and then they can do that because they've conditioned you to be so apathetic to shit that they can tell you anything and you won't do
Right,
anything about
right.
it. So
What
they
time the game coming on?
There you go. What time the fight coming on? What,
No.
Whatever the hell.
I
Don't
gotta
let
go
me
get this bag.
Don't let me be. Thank
this
you.
place
Don't
to
let
be.
me
Start
be
breaking.
unfair to sports fans. What time is? Put your distraction here.
Right.
Mine is hot rods and MMA.
Scandal.
Everybody got one. Why y'all in my shit? Why y'all in my? Oh, that's yours. Okay. Yes. So it's about your
Yeah, whatever
your
you-
particular
right.
distraction. Is it fishing? Is it gymnastics? What is it?
Well, there's also so many of them. We were just stomping around about guns, right? Like,
Yeah.
we forgot about that, and now now it's a blip and it'll go away.
It'll go away.
Absolutely.
And and I love the way it's strategically placed. The world is in turmoil. Let's just slip this truth out real quick. Hey, sorry about the racism. And back to our normal program.
Yes.
Back to the regular schedule.
And back to starving
Tito's commercial
Africans for
comes
no
on.
reason.
You see what I mean? Like, here I am. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, here in America, everything about our abilities to respect one another as black people in America is predicated on being a capitalist,
Yes.
right? Everything is based off of
Capital.
what you acquire, whether it's education, whether it's employment, career. Everything is. Even our relationship models are built on a sociologist created this. No, an economist created this term. You want to turn that off?
I don't know how. Young kids.
I
All right,
appreciate
go ahead. Thank you.
it. And an economist created this concept that is bedrock to relationship in America, especially how it affects black people. And this concept is called equity theory, right? If I bring a spoon, you bring the cereal. If I bring the milk, you bring the bowl. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Things have to be equal, right? And so a lot of times, how we evaluate each other is through like I said, a consumerism kind of model, right? In order for us to take what that means, and I'm talking about the National Geographic thing. We have to give back some of the standards and the rules that they said were successful or lead to success. We've got to give some of that stuff away and then be able to rebuild within our own group of people. I value this person not because of what he has externally. I value his integrity. Right. I value his character. I value his moral compass, his ethics, right?
What he can bring to me that I can't spend.
Do you get what I'm saying? A lot of times those kinds of things are secondary, right? When you're dealing with somebody with money and power.
Or I think the same thing is in reverse. It's like I value myself enough to know that I'm valuable in this situation. I may see somebody who has more money or less, whatever my judgment call is on that situation.
Right.
Realizing that my power is in that in an exchange.
Right.
Right. We'll get into it in a minute, but in my book, we talk about mentor moments. Right. So this idea that any conversation you have with somebody, you may have a conversation with somebody at the gas station. You walk out there and you're like, that was dope.
Have a value unless it's established internally. Your value, for most people, our word is some but all, some but not all. But for a lot, especially African Americans, is external.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that.
That's fine. Hey, hey.
I'd like to share my thought.
Can I say something to you?
Yes, sir.
I don't care.
I hate you. Oh, come on, Jeff. Just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand.
No, but go deeper, Jeff. I like this.
When you say that our value, we don't have value unless we recognize it. That flies.
Did I say that?
It sounded. Did I get that wrong?
Your weed paraphrase?
Yeah, I had a marijuana paraphrase just now.
Jeez.
Because I could have swore you were.
No, I said our value, for most of us,
Yes.
comes. Okay, so you agree or disagree? Jesus. Lord derailment.
Symbols.
You flipping your stand?
Yeah.
I can't work for Amtrak. He can get everybody off.
I know. I'm gonna go get. I don't know what to do after I pushed so many buttons and now all the lights is red. I'm gonna go get my sister because she ain't never seen a train wreck before. I done fucked up all this.
What would happen
What?
if black people rediscovered their ancient roots, both here in America, because there's the argument that a lot of the black people in America were already here,
Yes.
Most.
right? When we're talking about slave trade.
Yes.
Not to say that there aren't slave trade black people here, right?
There's some, yes.
But there's some. What would happen if every black person that's on the landmass of the continental United States found out exactly their root, where they come from, and who they are? As a matter of fact, there's some. You do know that in the news, Trump, the administration was basically saying at the next census, black people have to declare
say, yes, you're a U.S. citizen.
where are you from? Who are you? You can't just say I'm African American no more. Thanks, Jesse Jackson, for giving us another name. So now you're gonna have to tell us, what would black people look like if we actually discovered exactly where we're from? Chris?
You mean as a community? What would we look like?
As a community, my man.
That's a tough call because I think a lot of this conversation is stuff that we all know ethereally or we've heard at some point in time or another. What do we do about it then, right?
Man.
From a mass, a mass integration or not integration, but but a mass adoption of that knowledge. That's where I see the disconnect. So
Yes.
would it be a complete overhaul? I don't think so.
Black people go on about their business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool.
In the words
Look,
of
Black Panther came out, right? We all celebrated that, and here we are. It's
here
Monday.
we are. It's Monday.
some niggas done killed some niggas since Black Panther came.
Wow.
Okay. In the words of the great poet laureate J.O. Felony, I can give it to you, but what you gonna do with it?
Right.
But if you look at sort of like the micro transaction of it all, that one person that decided to do something, that decided to be one of the dominoes that's gonna fall and hit the next one and create change, I think you may have a better percentage of that happening. So you'll have more people being activated. Shout out to Jerry Curls, but you would have that sort of element where somebody was gonna take action,
Right.
but not like a mass overhaul. I don't see it.
Kev?
Yeah.
Niggas ain't gonna do shit.
No, but if everybody got together though, you would. I mean, and they realized who they were, then you would stop being black and you would start being Aboriginal and understand your
How
connection
about
to the
it?
land, and then you would proceed that way and to try to reconnect and get your status back. Because they understand who you are, and by keeping you in a term called black, and just how you were just talking about, they want you to the new census. They say, or they ask you immediately, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" When you say you're a U.S. citizen, that means you give up all other rights before
be
that,
anything
to
else.
be anything else. So again,
So if you were a prince somewhere else and you said, "No, I'm a U.S. citizen,"
that's it.
That's
You
the end of your
that's a
princedom.
wrap.
That's right.
That's a wrap.
Is it though from an identity standpoint or from a paperwork
Your
standpoint?
Paperwork standpoint, your shit is gone. Once you claim one
Yeah.
thing, then you give up the other thing. So in their system, black is a subservient class status. So Aboriginal is the status that's over that. You don't need them for that status to come and get your stuff back.
So to dismount from this topic, I just want to ask everybody the same question, starting with Chris. What do you think the overall purpose or reason,
Oh boy.
right, is behind obfuscating African history? Like, what do you think the overall purpose and reason for that is, Chris?
I think you said it earlier. I think it's keeping the leash tight, right? Keeping the leash short.
Can I have a little breath?
And it's fear based. It's all I think it's all fear based. I mean, you look at the most histories, it's all sort of fear. The fear of lack of power, fear of, especially, I mean, if you look at the slave times and like the horrible things that happened, that was all like disciplinary based on fear.
Right.
So,
Right.
From a mass organizational standpoint, I still don't get it, right? It's like, what is I think after a while it just became habit.
Right.
After a while it just became a learned habit. You know,
Right.
it's the same thing about like a dietary food thing.
Right.
You know, so it's like, oh, my mom ate this way, my grandmother ate that way, and
That's how we eat.
that's
That's
just
how
how
we
I
eat.
eat.
Wow.
And it becomes this second nature thing. It's like, oh, some people probably didn't even know why they chipped the nose off the statues. It was like,
They probably
the
did.
person who was actually sitting there chiseling,
he
maybe
probably
they
had
did.
no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe they all fell off.
Right.
This motherfucker you look too much like George
Maybe they
Jefferson.
all fell off.
Chop this up. Kev, why do you think they did that? Why do you think they obfuscate the history?
By the way, I didn't know what obfuscate meant. I took a wild guess.
Covered up.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good word.
You like that?
Guys have good
Get your
words, yeah.
thesaurus on. It's cool.
Well, it goes back to my last thing. If you understand who you were in history, then you would come back and try to regain that position. They can't tell you who you were. I mean, if you truly understood that you created all of this shit that's revered around the world, what kind of self-esteem would that create in a people?
And you can't kick a person's ass who believe in themselves.
Thank you.
I'm gonna tell you that right now.
You
Somebody who
cannot.
believe themselves, they gonna take some hits, they gonna get knocked out, they gonna get up, they gonna keep getting up.
Exactly. Nigga, my people built these pyramids.
Hey,
nigga.
because you
My
know
people-
what? What happens is you become a zombie for your cause.
Ooh, I like that,
You
Jeff.
become, and I mean the Walking Dead version,
Right,
not what
right,
you're
yeah.
going to tell me that zombie doesn't mean. I mean the people that walk in, because Kevin will fuck up what you think words mean, and then he won't give you a replacement word.
Yeah, stop it.
You see that word right there? Don't use that no more. Kevin repossess your car in the middle of the desert.
All right, so don't
Yeah.
say we didn't tell you.
Yes.
Don't say we didn't tell you.
You become a zombie. You become your energy becomes an infinite army of zombies only controlled by how long your energy is in this flesh once you believe in yourself. Once you believe, like on some Sylvester Stallone with Rocky, that story, holy shit, how he got down to where he had to sell his dog to make this movie because he
Right,
believed in
right.
it. He had MGM and Paramount and Columbia telling him, we love it, but just not you. We'll give you somebody. Nope,
Right.
I want to be in it. He went to the fucking wall for what he believed in. If you take one brick out of that, you don't have none of the Rockies, you don't have none of the Rambos.
I got you. So look, I've got another topic. I think we've beat that up. What the
fuck do you have, sir?
That's been going on for quite some time. People have been asking me about my opinion on it, you know.
What's going on?
I'm just tired of fucking these stories, but we've got to cover it. You're listening to the ZoWhat Morning Show, and this is my disgusted voice.
It's kind of a Captain Kirkish.
Damn it, Bobby,
My fuck this shit voice.
Okay, unarmed man killed by Sacramento police, shot 8 times,
man,
6 times in the back. Jeez. Stephen Clark, the unarmed man who was fatally shot by police in his grandmother's backyard, was struck 8 times, including 6 bullets in the back. Scared people shooting the monster in the back. Okay, cool. All right, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who is representing Clark's family, released the independent autopsy report at a news conference on last Friday. Dr. Bennett Omalu, who was the first doctor to discover chronic traumatic, or CTE. Oh, this guy. The guy who discovered CTE.
Oh, that
football,
the
yeah,
Will
football.
Smith player.
Yes. Who brought awareness to the issue of concussion and brain trauma to the NFL, was depicted in the film Concussion, in which Will Smith played him in the leading role. Oh, man, he was on the scene here. And he was basically just talking about how the kid was shot 6 times in the back. The 7th gunshot wound was slightly to the side of his body, but to the back side of his body. All right, so there's a lot of shit going on around this here. My homeboy, Willie D. I fuck with Willie D tough, right? Willie D.
As in Ghetto Boys, Willie?
Yeah, Willie
I'm not
D.
a gentleman.
That's the man.
I
That's
love
what- there
Willie
you go.
D. I love Willie D, and he recently came out.
by the sword.
He recently came out with a video about the young brother, and it was critical of the young brothers, the brother who was murdered. It was critical of his view of sisters. I guess the young brother was married to an Asian chick, and he was on social media, and he was very critical, right, of African American women. This is what I'm gonna say regarding that. At the end of the goddamn day, shooting the nigga in the back 7 times is wrong.
Yeah, regardless to who he
Regardless of his personal
Yeah.
shit.
Philando Castile's woman was black.
Right. No. This dude, who got shot in the back, his woman is Asian.
Yeah, 'cause that's my point.
And he was just basically, some of his personal beliefs.
Right.
But it's still illegal to shoot him in the back.
How about it?
And I think there's a danger in saying, hey, hold on. That should have happened to him.
Oh, was that kind of where he was going?
On
Some chickens come home to roost? type thing?
Yeah, I think there's a danger in implying that,
Yeah, there's a danger in giving any more license to shooting black people.
Right. So, and I just think, at the end of the day, we got to come together as an entire group, right? A collective to fight against it. Because let me tell you something. My uncle, I'm at the family crib out in Dina for Easter or whatever. My uncle is a cop.
Okay.
He told me the wildest story in the world. He Pasadena PD. He was like, we got called to a scene. He said, I got the strap out and it's trained on a dude who has a gun, but he's not holding it. It's next to him. He said, I got backup. I got the gun trained on him, and then I recognized I went to school with this dude. So he was like, at any moment I could have shot and killed him.
Right.
At any moment, if
Or he could have shot him in the foot.
He was like, if he would have, and he said, we don't shoot in the foot.
Right.
He explained. He said, you can't disable somebody by shooting them in the leg or lower extremities, because they still can get off around. That's why they be shooting in the head.
That's if they got a gun, but yeah.
But that's what he was saying. They don't train them to shoot in the lower extremities because, you can still get around off if you get wounded or if the person is wounded.
That's different than what they teach you in the Marines.
Right. But my uncle, another uncle is there. He's in the Navy. He said, no, they teach you how to kill and maim.
Maim, yeah.
I can shoot to maim you or I can shoot to kill you.
If I kill you,
So
I
they
can't
explained
figure out-
all of that.
I can't find out about the enemy.
But he said he talked the dude down. The dude never picked up the gun. He talked the dude down and was like, all right, man, look, we done figured out what was going on with you, man. Why you out here tripping?
Yeah.
But he still got his trained on him. Come on, man. So homeboy gets talked down, and it's all good. But he said his backup was like, are you crazy? Mackenzie, we was going to shoot him off tops.
That is insane.
That's crazy.
He told me stories where him and his partner driving, you know, the King Manors.
Yeah.
The King Manors, when
Right down the street.
Yeah.
they driving near the King Manor, and they see muzzle fire, and the bullet go through their car.
Damn.
One flash, bullet go through the car. They get, you know,
Right. Swerve.
they swerve.
Can't hit the lights
They
fast.
hop out and they draw down, but they can't see nobody. They not shooting nobody
Wow.
because they can't see nobody. Because they said it was a group of motherfuckers and they dispersed. It was
Right.
muzzle flash. So they said, logically, one shooter. You can't just fire
Yeah,
into a crowd.
Thank you.
Right.
They backup came, which was the sheriff, I think, and the sheriff
the
came out.
goons.
"Doo, doo, 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 doo." Don't worry about it. Y'all was in trouble. Y'all lives were in jeopardy. And see, they can cover all of that by saying they were in jeopardy,
feared for our life,
and they killed somebody. Somebody bullet ricocheted off something, hit somebody in the head, killed.
They legally can do that because of some Supreme Court decision that gives them the right to do that, to assess their level of danger in a situation, and then, you know, use their own discretion in that situation. But, you know, and it won't be changed unless you take another case like that to the Supreme Court, and then.
Oh, there's another way to. There's a few ways to change.
You can get.
But see, this is my point.
You can redo a law. But
This is my point. This is my point coming back to the young brother getting shot. What's the difference between that young brother and Philando Castile? What's the difference between that young brother and Oscar Grant? What's the difference? We don't know Oscar Grant's personal beliefs.
And why should we have to?
So why should we have to? Why should that even be brought up?
What if you was a fireman on some of that shit? You run in a burning building and somebody lay in their coffin and you go, yeah, I'm here to save you. But first, what are your views on Trump? I don't get to do that. I have to save this motherfucker. I have to deal with this motherfucker on a human level, regardless to what his views may be.
Right. And listen, as a man, I categorically disagree with the brother's personal beliefs about black women. But that still doesn't mean he deserves to get shot and
That's
killed.
not the point. Like,
Chris,
how many? Yeah, I'm sure the four of us, five of us, have like combating opinions on a number of things.
On a number, yeah.
So neither one of us needs to go outside and get shot and killed.
Not over that.
Right.
Executed.
Right. It's not over anything.
Oh no, it's shit worth shooting a motherfucker.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, for that to even be put on the table puts you in a compromising position with regards to arguing your point about the injustice of being shot and killed just by being black, being a black man. So it really puts you in a, well, didn't you say?
Yeah.
You don't want to put that out there like that.
Yeah. The victim always gets vilified in some type of way when they're melanated.
Right. And I'm going to say, again, I love sisters. There's a lot of motherfuckers out there talking reckless about sisters. Do they deserve to be shot and killed?
No.
And shot and killed by who? Should the system do it? Should we do it?
Who gets to do it?
Who gets to do it? You get what I'm saying? Who gets to say, come here, man, let me holler at you for that bullshit you was
Bip, bop, bang, bang.
You get what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So I think some of that stuff, man, some of that stuff needs to stay in-house. Some of our critiques about things. And like I said, I love and respect Willie D. And I say most of the shit that come out of his mouth is 100, solid. You get it? But we have to be careful of what we say, in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Because the whole nation is watching this particular case. And I think there's some level of traction coming.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They
I mean,
should.
at the very least, and I don't know that his statement well enough, but I'm sure like now it sparked some conversation and debate, and hopefully conversation leads to action.
Right.
To me, this incident becomes another now what. Right.
Right.
We've marched.
Yeah.
Right.
We've signed the petitions. We showed up at places. Now what? How do you flip that switch in a way that's real, and not like awareness and a hashtag on Twitter? And like when do things change?
Well, nothing will change until you get the same type of power that the NRA has, which is lobbying power.
I disagree with
to change legislation. I mean, you can disagree with it, but ain't nothing happening. You can disagree with it all you want, but that's what it is.
What you gonna do about it, Jeff?
When is it gonna change?
Oh,
show me the
what time
alternate.
is it? What time is it?
Show me the different path.
What you gonna do about it, Jeff?
I'm gonna break it down with my master disaster break you like plaster plan. Shout out to James Ty Smith.
All right, so look, I'm just gonna take a
On the
quick break.
rant.
When we come back, it's your rant, and then we're gonna go
Break it
into my
down
man's
for you.
book. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen to the ZoWhat Morning Show. We in here turned up. We having a good time, great conversation. Listen, let me just say this, man, before I go to break. Constructive disagreement on varying points isn't cooning, dumbass.
As a matter of
When you're intelligent, you question. 9 times out of 10, when you're questioning, you're disagreeing.
Right.
Just because you disagree doesn't necessarily mean you're disagreeable. Right?
you're learning.
You're learning. It's a learning process. And you got to remember, too, sometimes when we on fucking Instagram and we doing these little 50, 60-second videos or whatever, that ain't enough time to give you full context of our POV.
Right.
How about it?
You get what I'm saying? So again, based off of the little snippet that I saw, that was my concern. That don't make somebody a coon. I swear to God, niggas need to read at least the newspaper.
How did you at least how did you
Nigga,
required reading.
How did you
read a menu, my
how did you
nigga.
get to Coontown?
Read a menu.
God damn.
How did you get to Coontown all of a sudden? Because of what?
Because they're saying Zoe's a coon because he questioned what Willie D said. And Willie D is a man. That ain't no boy, that's a man.
A goddamn grown ass man.
And that's a respectable man on top of that. And if he says something that I disagree with, you know what I'm saying? I can say, oh, well, I disagree with that point. And that don't mean I disagree with him. That means I disagree with the point.
And
Still kinda coony, though.
Coon. And wait, let me. And coon for you dumbass motherfuckers. For you dumb motherfuckers who use coon all the time. Coon comes from barracoon, and it's a place where you hold slaves. It's a prison for slaves. Is this motherfucker imprisoning slaves? So you dumb motherfuckers who keep using coon, you're using it wrong. Stop using it. You look like a fucking idiot.
Okay. Then you're gonna have
You were
to.
so zen until
Yeah. Then I'm gonna need some help.
Because they use that coon like it's a motherfucker, like it's a damn.
Okay.
like
Case
it's
in
a-
point.
a
Here we
laser
are.
sword or
Here
something.
we are.
Let me take you there. Let me just take you to your rant.
No. This is before. This is pre-rant.
Okay, pre-rant. Jesus.
You noticed about 10 minutes ago, I said, Kev likes to come out and see you getting gas in the desert and steal your car. That's what he does with words. Now he just stole coon.
He done did it again.
Okay, now I'm standing out here in the middle of the desert, the vocal desert, with my favorite new phrase. I don't call black idiots niggas no more, because nigga means God. I call them Jasper-ass shade tree house coons. So now, I got to do something with the end, and that end, I love house coon. I just love the way that rings. So, I'm gonna need you now. I'm standing out in the desert. You done took my coon mobile. What I supposed to say since I can't say coon?
Look, if you're talking about a person who is holding other people back, keeping them from learning and keeping them from rising and elevating, then you can call them a coon. To me, that's prison. So you can keeping melanated people from rising like that, or anyone from rising like that. To me, you can call them a coon. If they're keeping you from learning, keeping you from elevating and moving on in your purpose, then you can do something like that.
Okay.
That's not what he's doing. He's teaching people. He's he's elevating people's minds. That is the exact opposite of what he's doing.
You just indicted people for using the word coon wrong. Here's where I use the word coon. Any black person who makes themselves happy with, makes excuses for, makes a place for themselves in this oppressive system to people of color. I call those people Jasper Ash Shade Tree House Coons.
I
You
didn't say
just
you
told
were. I
me.
didn't say you were using the word wrong. I would have told you before if you were using the word wrong. I said most people who do use the word wrong.
Okay.
All right, so
So
look.
you just went past me with my car and went,
So-
I walked with my-
All right. So Jeff, can I take the break?
Yes, you may.
Did you get it? Did you?
I believe I did. I believe my work is done.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back in 30 seconds. The ZoWhat Morning Show on Dash Talk.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the ZoWhat Morning Show. Zoe's having a bout with incontinence, so he's not. Oh, there he is. I didn't know what happened. I was just waiting. We didn't know whether you meant. Yeah, you said for me to bring us back, but I didn't know if you meant while you were not here, Captain Kirk. So we didn't know what the fuck to do. You know, it's just a bunch of us in here with red shirts. You know, the nigga with the red shirt gets shot first on Star Trek.
I run a station.
Is that okay? Yeoman Johnson?
Yes. Yeah, Yeoman Johnson.
Yo, man.
I'm telling you, if I was on,
That's a compliment in and of itself.
dude, if I'm on the Enterprise and we finna go down, oh no, fuck that. I'm not going to no
Go out there
red
and check out
shirt.
the space rock.
Right, I ain't. Y'all need to give me another color shirt.
Look down at his
That dude in that red shirt, he get fucked up right out the gate
Hey,
before the theme
I
song.
run a show, a station.
Well, yes, sir. Well, I didn't know where you went, bro. I'm just trying to make sure, I don't.
Should I have texted you?
You should have said something before your ass left the room.
Okay, so you're wasting your time here.
Okay.
This is your 3 minutes.
Okay, all right.
The intellectual rant. by
Ladies and
Jeff
gentlemen,
Brown.
here it goes. We generally agree on the destination. Here's the problem with agreement. Everybody black seems to think that everybody black has to not only agree on the destination, we got to agree on the snacks, the speed, the time we leave, the road we take. No, we don't. We just got to get there. Here's my idea. Here's my master disaster break you like plaster plan for stopping police brutality right in its fucking tracks. And it has nothing to do with voting. It has nothing to do with anything other than the word unity. Unity. 50th power. And here's how it starts. 1, we start making, and yes, this is radical, we start making sports teams in major cities directly financially responsible for the fuck-ups of the police, especially since these sports teams are harvesting their talent from these major cities. 1, here's what should happen with Brother Stefan's family. His next of kin is his mother, his woman, and them 2 kids. They shouldn't have to worry about shit. Past the actuaries who extrapolate how much money he would have made if he lived to 65. Fuck that. Because in that equation, you don't put nothing about missed hugs, missed tucks in the bed, bedtime stories, teaching you how to tie your shoe and shave and drive, and all that shit that fathers do when they haven't been shot 20 times. So here's where we started out. Them 2 mothers get houses next to where the Sacramento Kings mamas and them live. Forever. They get $500,000 each, forever. They get a school named after this brother. That school is financially girded by the college who recruited the most brothers from that area. Whatever college in this nation that holds that record, you and the Sacramento Kings will foot that bill. You will also foot the bill for the school, the worst school in Sacramento, being financially put on the level of the best private school. All of that you will do, and if you don't, here's what we do as black people. We watch the Sacramento Kings basketball games for 30 days, not for the games, for the commercials. We then inform the sponsors that we will not be driving that car, we will not be using that soap, and we will not be flying that airline for the next 100 years. Not a boycott, a divorce, a financial divorce. No donations, no apologies, no exceptions. We are fucking done with you. 2, we will not be playing for or against any member of the Sacramento Kings as a people. When we start financially terrorizing you motherfuckers, when we start just picking big businesses at random to choke to death by making absent our $1.3 trillion annually, you will then pay attention. There is no success to be had by appealing to a bully for your fucking lunch money. Trust me, I grew up in Chicago in the 70s. That shit don't work. The only thing that an aggressor respects is equal or greater aggression. And the only place that we can legally be aggressive is with our money. But that's not gonna happen until we unify. Is Stefan my cousin? I can't tell you that because I don't really know who's related to me. So since I don't know what brother is related to me, all of them are. And until we see ourselves as all related, the way the Jews do, that's the Jews' biggest power. It's impossible to fuck with one of them. You fucking with them all. And unless and until we get there, you can continue to whine, march, and repeat, and vote. How's that working out? I'm done.
All right, Jeff. Concise and on time.
How about that?
We got a homie in the house right now. We got a lot of topics to cover, but we got the homie in the house right now.
Hold on, can I say one thing real quick?
Yes, sir.
He was watching the game on his phone the whole time. You were
Snitches get stitches.
That's right. He just dry snitched on you. That didn't even have nothing to do with it.
amazing speech about how we boycott sports organizations.
And now he watching the game.
He watching the game.
Nigga watching
And how niggas need to unify. I done heard that 83 million times.
And not boycott. Not boycott. Boycott is a dirty word. Boycott. That's like going to counseling with an abusive dude.
That
like the
is
dude is beating your ass, so we gonna go to counseling. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about picking institutions to divorce.
That was hilarious.
That's different.
All right, so listen, in studio is our guest, Chris Denson, New York Times #1 best-selling author.
Don't go that far.
I'm putting it out there. Fuck that.
Break it
I'm
down.
gonna put that in the ethos.
That's out there, man. Crushing the Box. 10 essential rules for breaking essential rules. Shit. I'm a rule breaker. So
I can tell.
So this right here is like right up my damn alley, man.
Bible.
This is how I get down. Like, you know, I want to know, what is this book for? Who is it for? Why did you write it? What was your inspiration? And how can this change the world? How can this contribute to people thinking in a clearer way, in a more critical way? Talk to me about crushing the box.
I think it goes back into a lot of the things we've discussed on the show. It's like we've been conditioned to do or think a certain way. You know, even my lens is definitely innovation. So when it comes to like reimagining, reinventing culture, technology, all sorts of different things that we see, it always requires some form of reinvention. You know, I adopted this quote that what got you here won't get you there. So whatever number of wins you've gotten in the past that comes from a skill set you've developed. In order to reach a new plateau, you probably need new skill sets to be able to do that.
Nasty, bro.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And I've spent the last 4 years hosting an interview series called Innovation Crush. Interviewed 200 plus innovators, people who are highly skilled at doing that very thing. From NASA's artists in residence, right? You find like NASA has an artist that's been there for 15 years helping craft missions, and it's like, oh, NASA broke a rule that's in our head as far as like what we think of it as a science nerdy organization, and they brought in this guy who's helping just reimagine what NASA is as an organization.
What's going on, dudes? My name is Todd. I like to draw. Let's get started.
One more time. Tell them who your name is. People are asking, what's your name?
Oh, hi. Hello, everybody. Chris Denson. Hold the book up. It's Chris Denson. Densonology on the social handles. ChrisDenson. Don't forget the space.
Exactly. There we go. Continue what you were saying.
No, so it's just, and then not only that, for the past 10, 12, 15 years, I've been working with companies like Google, Wells Fargo, a number of different organizations to help them invent the future. So kind of extracting the 10 principles that I've uncovered both on the show and both in my own experience, and turning that into like, here's some rules on how to be a rule breaker, right?
Right. But when you say rule breaker, because you know, let me just fuck out. Oh my God. When we go back to the successful Negro, he has made it because he hasn't broken any rules. He has presented himself as clean cut, as non-threatening.
Bootstraps.
You know, he is in alignment.
He has walked the straight line.
I am the capitulator.
Come on, the master capitulator.
I don't know if I fully agree. I mean, you got your OJs of the world, right? Like, I'm not black.
Listen, OJ capitulated until he couldn't.
Right. But look what it cost him, right? So,
but I'm saying, when you look at the average black man in America, you're looking at a capitulator when he wants to be successful.
That's true.
Otherwise, he's Jay-Z. He comes in through the side door.
Right.
They didn't expect him to be at 500, 600, 800 million.
No.
Right.
High school dropout, that's the side door.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Quick.
So when we talk about the average black man, most when we talk about success, we're talking about education. Hey.
No, you live in two worlds.
You shut
live
your
in
mouth,
two
you
completely
cast
different
your
worlds.
eyes to the ground now, goddamn.
When you talk about the successful, not easily recognizable black man.
Right. Right.
With the Buster Browns on.
So that's
How
my
about
point.
that dude?
How do we create rule breakers? Because remember, in America, especially as it pertains to African American men, just the men, rule breaking for African American men equals criminality.
How about it?
Who told you to? Who told this nigga got in here?
Yeah.
I found myself in a dozen circles that I had no business being in. There's no business I should have been at the Jet Propulsion Lab, walking
JPL,
around.
Pasadena, let's go.
Right.
Shout out to JPL.
And one of the things we talk about in the book is just like, you owe it to yourself and to your craft and to that community that you're affecting, whether it's in a boardroom or in the cafeteria or wherever you are, to be who you are. And it's easier said than done, but when you realize what the value is. So my background is stand-up comedy. I did stand-up for 7 years. And there was a very long period of time.
I love your bio when it says you're a recovering comedian.
Yes, exactly.
That was funny.
Yeah,
That
God
was
bless
funny.
you.
All right.
Holy shit.
Well, that's where when I met Zoe, was like on the basketball courts of the Palisades.
You already know that.
Yeah, so
And there it is.
With that community. But it was this idea that as I started to transition into what I do today, it was like I didn't want to be the funny guy, right? I didn't think they would take me seriously if I had a sense of humor. Right, especially being black, let alone if I had a different melanin quotient. Right. But once you started, once I started doing it, it's the same thing that's success in comedy. It's like most comedians will tell you, like once I started telling my real life stories and being who I was, good, bad, or indifferent, like that's when success happened. So and success is also in the context where you put it. It's almost like tiered, right? There's what got you here won't get you there. So if you have achieved a certain amount of success by code switching or whatever you need to do, it's like, all right, the fear was the thing that's going you have a fear of like not being able to hold on to that thing, and that's why you like conform. But I think there's a certain level of success where you go like, you know what, forget it. How about this, right? And there's been a number of things, and plus I think. There's a little bit of, at least in my case, it's like owning the spirit of blackness in a sense, where it's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. Like we have this like, it's
fuck what you say.
Exactly, and there has to be a level of, pardon my French, my daughter's here, but there has to be a level of fuckiness in your approach to most things.
Can we talk about fuckitness? Because I think that's part of manhood.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to say, all right, then, fuck it. Fuck it, then.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at any, let's look at our modern day, individuals, like a Travis Kalanick from Uber, right? And said, you know what if people can be taxis? And people are like, all right, you go ahead. You go ahead with your little idea. And,
Uber.
What did he say? Fuck it.
Right.
Fuck it, then.
Right, I'll do it myself.
Yep.
Reed Hastings, the guy who created Netflix. He walks into Blockbuster, says, hey, I built this little business. What do you think about it? And they're like, no.
Get out of here.
Right. All right. Fuck
Next
it.
thing you know, fuck it then.
Blockbuster's closed.
But I think the same thing, we're talking about crossing business barriers, but I think the same thing happens crossing cultural barriers or life barriers. There's these things, and I look at this book as like a guidebook for life. It's through a business lens, but it is very much so like if you're a parent, you're trying to figure out a better way to communicate to your kids. However you've been doing it for the last, my daughter's here, she's 12. However I've been doing it for the last 12 years, got us to a certain point as a family. And now she's older, sitting in the studio listening to y'all cuss.
Gotta go in a different direction.
That car ride is going to be a different conversation. So
Baby, especially the one in the orange hat.
And
Don't
there's a
listen to none of that shit.
right? There's a discomfort in it. So if you're talking, again, going back to the black man, like, I'm about to change the game, or whatever, I've been doing up to now, I'm about to change it. There's a huge discomfort. And it's even lonelier than, the position that you're in. Because now you're about to go, like, that apex is just getting narrower and narrower, and the higher you climb, the thinner the air is, the less room you got to move.
Wow.
And so it's
the greater the competition from your own kind. Go ahead.
Yeah, or the fewer of you see. I mean,
that too.
And the more cutthroat they become.
Yeah, it's and there's so much that there's a chapter in here like that talks a little bit about diversity and inclusion. And the point I tried to make was like talking to the non-black folks or non-minority people and saying, look, we've all been discriminated against for something. If you're over 6'2", it's like, hey man, did you play basketball? Like white or not? It's just like,
what's the weather up
exactly. there? I'm 40 years old. No, I don't.
We're done now.
I've not
We're done
played
here.
basketball. Or if you're short, or if you're overweight, like there's unconscious bias. Like I'm not hiring that fat dude. Like there's these things that we all are up against. And I think when we change the dialogue around diversity and inclusion to not be so specifically ethnic and gender based, which that conversation is still important. It's like the number of events I go to in any given year, and it's like, oh, we have a women's panel or we have a black and tech panel. It's like the minute you like separate that group and show and like shine a big light, like look at all those different women over there. Now we're gonna go and do our regular panel.
But see, crushing the box for me means thinking outside of the box, right?
Yes.
black people are, it's almost like
Defined
there's a
by the box.
love-hate relationship with the box.
Oh, God.
We're not the authors of the box, but we got to go in the box in order to get a check out of the box.
A check.
So once the box starts paying,
Right.
there's like a silent contract with the box
Yes.
to not fuck up the box.
Fuck up the box.
Wait, did you see the season opening of Silicon Valley?
Valley, yeah.
When he was like, "You all think you're John Lennon until somebody waves $1 in your face." And do
you see?
But I think reiterating that with that construct is almost part of the problem, right? The more you say that, the more I'm like, oh yeah, yep, that's what I need to do, as opposed to, you know, you look at a Troy Carter or a Damon John, or I can quote a number of different people who went, you know what, why can't I? You know, Troy Carter was on my show, and he said I interviewed him on a Monday. He had some people over his house over the weekend. For those of you who don't know, Troy Carter used to manage Lady Gaga, huge investor, alternate on Shark Tank, and just a really amazing guy from Philly. And he was saying like, oh, somebody pulled him over to the side. He said, you know what? There was a group of people who weren't going to invest in your fund because they thought you were going to only invest in black businesses. And he was, because his portfolio is Spotify, Dropbox, Uber, Lyft, 50 to 100 different companies. And after a while, he's like, well, so what if I was? Right? But he took it upon himself to still remain black and true to who he is. And, but managing Lady Gaga is definitely not the move we would expect.
So let's come back to it. Black people in general are prisoners to the cube, the box.
Ice Cube.
The cube. Right? Because they refuse to break up with white values that pay them. When I say white, can we clarify white?
Man. In the words of Kevin Powell, I did a seminar. It was me, him, and Howard Hewitt way up in Sacramento.
Are you going to answer my question?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. I just wanted to know where we were going.
He said, he said, black men in this country have no idea what a successful black man looks like. When you think you are successful, you are a bastardized version of a successful white man. You don't know anything about catching the big animal that's gonna feed your family and your village. You don't know a damn thing about the rite of passage that goes back more than 500 years for you, regardless to whether you came from this soil or another. So everything that black folks want is some shit that either white folks used to want or some shit white folks want now.
Wow.
Black people don't have it. None of their shit is rooted in their own shit. None of it.
Man, crazy, man.
Mic drop.
Yeah, way to bring the room down. You have no fucking idea.
But again,
Wingtips,
thinking
your
outside the box
briefcase.
for American black people, you're so indoctrinated constantly. It's so hard to do. Things that are like that. And if you're constantly living in your echo chambers nowadays, you don't get a chance to see outside. Get outside of a box because you're always in a box. So today, that gesture, because you're living in an actual box. Today.
Well, but it's also a box of discovery, right? Like if you brought up something earlier, and I was thinking about this documentary on Netflix about the history of fashion and hip hop. And one of the things they started off with being in the box, like in the 50s, there was a sales
Right.
And it was because they can't afford to get out of their surroundings. They want to feel like they can out of their surroundings.
Right.
So that became, attire.
Right.
All the sort of surface things that make me look like, or just at least feel like to some degree that I've
a little freer. Yeah, I'm a little freer than I was.
And but then after that evolution happened, they were talking about the eras of Avizu, cross colors, et cetera, and then they get to today, and because of that, the box you held up, I'm discovering fashion from Paris, and so my look might be a high-low look where I got on some Gucci slippers and a Goodwill T-shirt. There's this, you get to be your own self. Like I got the sweatpants that I resonate with, and a top hat if I want to.
Right.
And that's me.
Right.
And that's your world. So why not extrapolate that into your business practice, your day-to-day living, and not just how you look.
So which box is harder to get for black? The box that is constructed of white approval syndrome, right? You know what I mean? The acquisition of their approval box, because that's part of who we are. We want what they have, like you said.
Yeah.
Or the box that, again, actually leads us to self-hate box. The competition, the crabs in a barrel box, you get what I'm saying? Because in this society, ideologically, the way it's constructed, black people extrapolate power from putting each other down.
But that's kind of the same box, isn't it? Because you want what they want, you'll be in the crab.
No.
box.
It's two separate boxes.
No, it all comes from the same source.
Yeah, but
It comes from
because
the
I want
same
what they want,
source,
I'm going
but
to be
it's
a
two-
crab in a barrel.
It comes from the same source, but it's two separate boxes now.
Yeah.
It's two separate boxes. Because you could say, okay, damn, I inherited this box of self-hate from the same. So I got mail from Amazon, and then I got this other box from Amazon.
Well, no, right. They're different boxes, but the wanting what someone has will lead to the crab in a barrel kind of syndrome.
No, I disagree with
that's
that.
why I said it's two separate boxes. So let's deal with the two different boxes. Which
I'm
one
just saying
is
it
easier?
it does that absolutely, but it definitely can. If wanting what they want can lead to, oh nigga, fuck you, oh nigga, fuck you,
I
oh,
gotta
nigga, fuck
get
you,
what
I'm
I gotta
putting
get
you
mine.
down. Yeah,
I gotta
exactly.
get mine.
That
But
does
no,
lead
when
to-
we talk about self-hate, there's a lot of compartments in self-hate. There's colorism, right? So there's the ideation of college graduates, my nigga, right? Black people who think all I got to do is get this career popping. I finish this school, get
I'ma
this
be
degree,
straight.
get in this career. Nigga, I'm different than other niggas. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm moving up. That's even your boule.
Right.
The boule figured, shit, we're not really accepted by white people, but we are definitely not.
Like the nigga.
So again, there's a box there. There's one box that's ladder climbing socially, and then there's another box that's internally destructive. How do we reconcile those boxes? Which box is easier to break up with in terms of ideas and concepts? Chris?
I think
We want to smash them.
I mean, in my case, it became there was a long period of self-examination, right? Like, and I talk about that. There was a long period of like, where do my beliefs come from? If I'm upset because an opportunity didn't happen, like I learned over time and still learning, to like, why do I feel whatever I feel about that thing? And the scientific method we all learned in 5th grade, ask why 5 times. So it's like, why do I feel that way? Oh, because of this. Why do I? And eventually you get back to, I think the collective in the black community is, we all joked about moms and big mamas and all that stuff. My mom grew up in the projects of Detroit, and I was on a swim team from the time I was 5 till last year. So my mom was always like, "Don't act that way. They'll think this about you. Don't do that." Because I love being silly. Like, that's why I ended up doing stand-up comedy.
Because it represented us all.
Right.
You representing all of us.
Exactly.
Don't you get your ass out there and act crazy.
But I didn't realize how much that stuck with me, until the 2000s, right? And where you go like, oh, I've been not wanting to be myself because I think somebody will think a certain way about me. My own people, any room that I'm in. And so that's to say that, okay, that was her experience being, what is the 4 agreements? Like, that's another book, and they talk about that same thing. It's like, you're living everybody else's agreements. So I think as soon as you kind of find your own lane and like do a little bit of self-examination, like, where do my beliefs come from? Why do I feel disconnected? Why, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or why do I feel overjoyed about certain things? Why do I like seeing you fail?
Wow.
So I think, and we talk about that, looking at problems problems, whether business or personal, from as many different angles as possible. Get yourself a whiteboard out or a piece of paper and just write down
break it
the
down.
good and the bad. Like
Right, because I believe, and I'm gonna go to you, Jeff. I believe
the
if you're
children are the
gonna
future.
if you're gonna crush the box in terms of business, you've got to crush the compartments that hide your wounds internally. Or you're going to incorporate the wounds into your business plan. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, the outside is a reflection of the inside. Now, for us as a people, there are a lot of traumatic boxes that need to be crushed. Or we become business owners, entrepreneurs with no morals, with no integrity.
Wow.
Right? We live in a fucking society that having no integrity is part and parcel to business.
Being successful.
You can't be successful
No.
unless you don't have no. I mean,
As a
that's
ma-
just what it
that's a
is.
As a matter of fact, no.
It's a belief. It's a belief, but
practice
It's a
in some
practice as
cases.
well.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be the practice.
No.
It doesn't
Well,
have
no.
to be that way, but it's there.
It doesn't have to be, but it cannot be ignored.
Right.
That whenever you hear these words, some regular guy just got fucked. It's just business.
It's
We're
not
closing
personal.
78 stores. That's just business. That means somebody regular just lost the way to feed their family. Whenever you hear it's just business, the regular dude just took it in the shorts.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I hear crushing the box and I look at our people, you are of us. And I say, well, goddamn, this is essential. This is essential to the health of our people. 10 essential rules for breaking essential rules. First off, we need to understand something about African American males. In today's climate, in every strata of society, we are intimidating. The man had a goddamn cell phone. I don't give a damn if his back is turned. That's a gun, and it can shoot backwards. We're in trouble. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I got a daughter. You have a daughter. You have a daughter, right? Again, our children are seeing young black brothers being expelled from classrooms. You understand? If you ask too many questions,
You got to go.
wait a minute, you're being disruptive. What? I just asked how you know. I can't ask how you know. I can't ask the clergy how he know God. I can't ask the teacher how you know what you know. Well, I can't question.
Right.
Nope.
So again, when I see crushing the box, I'm asking you, can we teach black men to go against what they've been taught in order to succeed in this culture? 10 rules for breaking. Let me read this shit, goddammit. 10 essential rules for breaking essential rules.
Okay.
When we raise a society of rule breakers, all I'm asking is society seeing those rule breakers as criminals, or are they seeing them as innovative businessmen? Go deeper.
I'm going to go innovative businessmen only because of what the rules are, right? The rules that I've identified, like the first one, I'll go back. It's like swim like an otter. And it's actually like everything is kind of set up in these oddball metaphors, right? One chapter is even called Put Women in Their Place, right? So shout out to Eric and his grandfather.
So let's go straight to that one. Let's go straight to what chapter is that?
7, I believe. So, but swim like an otter is like, so that guy I told you about from NASA, right? When he was in art school, he had a professor who said, draw a picture of an otter. That was his assignment. So he did this, beautiful painting and turned it in. His professor goes, you know what? Tomorrow, meet me at the pool. And so he met him at the pool. The professor showed him a video of an otter swimming. He's like, get in there and swim like you just saw. And that whole chapter is about empathy. Right? How deep are we willing to go to walk in somebody else's shoes before we try to service them? Even if it's myself or my community, or I want to create an artificial intelligence, chatbot. It's like, who am I chatting with? What do they need? What is it like to be in that person's shoes?
Right.
And I think so the rules become these sort of softer skills and not like not an aggression in a sense, you know what I mean? Okay. So there's that. There's put women in their place, which is again about diversity inclusion. Let's see what else I got here. Stalling on my own book. I did write it. Become a mercenary, right? And that is about like developing as many skill sets as you can. The one thing I have found, you know, growing up as a little black kid in Detroit, is like if I knock on the door and ask somebody some questions, they will start to tell you what they know. And I've done, like in my interviews, I mean, I interviewed Sugar Ray. He told me about how he was molested between the ages of 9 and 13. So you're like, oh, so you're a human being, you're a well-rounded human being. And that's a universal truth. And I think, yes, you're a black person in America, but you're also a person in America. And so there's, you know, you'll find people who don't look like you who have similar stories. Or who have overcome what you've overcome, or what you need to overcome. It's like, was it another quote, which is, sometimes God puts you through something so you can tell somebody else how you got through it. Right. And I think through dialogue and conversation, and I think the biggest anchor here that we've been talking about is really just we don't know what we don't know. So we're already a couple of layers removed from like vast knowledge. So it's being the door knocker, being that person who's going to like ask questions or go dig up information, and having a blast while you're doing it, because it's fun to be nosy and like, oh, what did that really happen? Like I could talk to you for about 2 hours just because
I think that
just on
you
vocabulary
think that a lot
alone.
of people don't think.
Yo. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Willie D. I'm calling from the United States.
Willie D. Oh my God. Had to get the brother on.
That's what's up.
I live my life by the sword. What?
Right, man. Hey, legendary Willie D in the building.
Not a gentleman.
The sword.
The sword, brother. I love that line.
Hey, man, let him talk.
I just love Willie D. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, Willie, check it, man. People been hitting me because you did a video of the young brother, Steph, who got shot in the back. Stephon, who got shot in the back 6, 7 times, 8 times, or whatever. And people was like, Zo, you got to talk about it. And my stance was, D is my guy, and I respect Willie D and everything he got to say. Yeah. Now, and I may not agree with everything, just like Willie D don't agree with everything I say. But I was like, man, I got to get Willie D on here so he could give us context to what he meant when he was talking about the young brother. I saw the video, and I just wanted to get your perspective on the whole situation, bro.
Okay, let me just start off by saying this. For the people who don't know me and who are the people who are just hearing about me over the last, several months or a couple of years, or even if you just heard my name for the first time today, I love black people.
Yes, sir.
I love black people. And if you love black people, I love you.
My man.
Let's get that straight out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but when I see black people that's within our race that are detriments to our movement, then they got to be called out as the enemy. If that was a Klansman who got killed today, for any reason, I don't care why he got killed, I would celebrate. You dig what I'm saying? I would celebrate. I would rejoice.
Come on.
I feel nothing. Now, this brother, this so-called brother, Stephon Clark, now let me tell you something. I understand how everybody feel. I felt the same way when I first heard about it. Go back and look at my previous video when I first covered it. I was all the way for Stephon because I ride against the police beast every day. I'm riding against this every day. I got a son, I got nephews and nieces, and I got I'm dealing with even myself. I got to face the possibility of coming into contact with one of these racist ass crackers who might be on one when he pulled me over. So I got to deal with this myself every day. So I know I'd have to be a fool to not be touched by police brutality and police gun abuse. I got to be a fool to not be touched by that.
Right.
Now, having said that, when I heard about what happened with dude, I rolled for him immediately. Like some people are still riding for him. I rolled with the same amount of passion.
Right.
Now, when I found out that Stephon wasn't about that life, when I found out Stephon wasn't about us as black people, didn't give a fuck about himself as a black man, was trying to distance himself from the black race. He was when I found out that he was riding on black women from from which he came from, he was riding on black women daily. Like, fuck black women. I don't need a black woman. I'm already dark. What I need a dark baby for?
Oh yeah, he did that.
Riding on black babies. You riding on black. You riding on black. And then you got black people that was like, well, why are you? Well, it doesn't. His preference, shouldn't mean anything. His dating preference, don't mean he should have got killed. Let me tell you something, man. People hear what they want to hear, right? All they hear is that I'm riding against them. They don't give a damn why. It's just that, what we for him right now, you need to be for him. It don't matter what he did or what he said. We just need to be for him because a black man got killed. Man, that black man don't mean shit to me. A black man who is a detriment to the community, who riding against me, don't mean shit to me. That's what black people got to get in their thick skin. Like, get through their thick head, their thick skulls. It's like we got to stop being so damn forgiving of the enemy, even if the enemy is within.
Especially if the enemy is us.
We got to root out the enemy within also. Just like we ride on dirty cops who ride on our community, we got to ride on black people who ride on our community. We got to ride on them.
And listen,
I don't feel nothing for that nigga.
Willie D.
Willie D. Why do you think I feel Willie D?
My lawyer's outside.
And so Willie, and I'm gonna say this. Man. Like I said earlier today, I said, man, at the end of the day, with regards to that kid who got killed, we got to also play chess too, so we don't incriminate or devalue our stance. That man got shot in the back. That's the criminal act, right? That's the criminal act. If we come out and let these white folk know that we don't care that he got shot in the back, you get what I'm saying?
Just because they hunting, we don't need to give them a hunting license.
Say Zoe, I get what you're saying right there, but guess what? There are plenty black men who have been killed by the police.
Yes.
And who are going to be killed by the police today, tomorrow, next week, and over the next several years that could use our energy, who loved himself and loved the black community. Stephon Clark ain't one of them. He don't deserve our energy. Let his mama and his daddy and his brother ride for him. Let them ride for him. And I'm going to tell you something else. They created his ass. I feel nothing.
I was just thinking that.
Nothing. They created him. They enabled him. They loved him unconditionally, even though he hated his own mama. He hated his grandmama. His mama and his grandmama on TV crying for him. It's black women out there, the same women he hated, was the first ones to be out there on the front lines riding for him. Now, I know that shit hurt. Cause you out there and you invested in it and you like, well, what Willie D know? No, fuck Willie. He wrote bald head hoes. How he gonna say something about the black people, the black women? Like, no, okay. So if black women is the first thing that you think of when you hear bald head hoes or you hear welfare bitches, it's something wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with Willie D. Cause I never generalized black. I never put black women in that box and say. Black women, y'all the bald head hoes. Everybody else.
How about it, bruh?
Man, I love it.
How about it? How you gonna act like bald head hoes don't exist?
And furthermore, bald head hoes love bald head hoes.
How about it? How about it?
Hey, Willie.
I go to concert, they the main ones yelling, sing bald head hoes. So all this so they gotta have something. It's always an excuse. You gotta have something to fight back with. Well, he wrote this or he said this or whatever. Like, trying to go back and dig up a song from 1989 that I wrote when I was in 1987.
Right, you a different man now anyway.
Yeah.
Shit. The man you were then is different than the man you are now.
Exactly. Same way they ain't going back trying to ride on Malcolm X was a dope dealer and a petty thug.
Detroit
Nobody
Red.
know that, nobody's talking about Detroit Red. They're talking about Malcolm X, the teacher, the coach. You know what I'm saying? The lover of the community. The forward thinker, the progressor. That's the Malcolm X that everybody knows. But see, that's how people do when they know you got their ass to the right. They know you got them to the right. They're going to try to go left and put a spin on it. But you can't put a spin on righteousness. Righteousness is righteousness. And I'm going to tell you something else. For me, it don't matter who telling the truth. The truth is the fucking truth. I don't care who's telling it.
Right.
If somebody come from around the corner and say, man, don't go around that corner, they stabbing motherfuckers. Oh, you know what?
Right.
I don't believe you because you're a thief. You stole
Okay. All right then.
All right.
Stabbed all up. Now you want to believe.
Yeah.
Now you want to believe.
Now you done got holes
Willie,
poked in you.
Hey, man, the next time you in L.A., man, we got to definitely get together and chop it up, man. You know I appreciate everything you got to say. And like I say, no matter what, this man tell the truth and he stand on it. He stand on what he believes. And we talked about it earlier. We ain't all got to agree.
No.
But
it's important that
you got to respect where he coming from for sure. Willie, thank you for calling, man. Thank you for reaching out, bro.
Hey, Zo, I'm not going to stop riding on police brutality like
My
I
man.
said.
I already
My
know
man.
that.
I'm not going to stop riding on them dirty, crooked ass cops.
My man.
Stop riding on them. But I'm not going to ride for somebody who wouldn't ride for me and somebody who hate from which he came.
Right.
I'm going to say it again. Fuck Stephon Clark, and I'm never going to apologize for saying it.
Apologize.
That's why I love this motherfucker right here. We appreciate you, Willie, man. Hey, let's chat it up, man, a little later on, man, if you can.
That's a BET special.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Hilarious.
Willie
D!
Willie D say he ain't gonna ride with you if you gonna, cause he gonna pay attention to how you would have acted if you wasn't got shot.
Listen,
if you hadn't got shot, who are you?
Take my YouTube channel.
And listen, man, I had to call him. I had to call him because our people are messy.
Ooh.
Especially
Messy
in
instigators.
in this social media junk, they messy. I don't have to agree with everything Jeff Brown says or
God,
Kevin says.
don't.
I mean, I disagree with Kevin all the time and you.
Yeah, we disagree on
Y'all be saying shit. I be like, these niggas don't know what the fuck. But at the same time, I respect each and every one of you as men. You're not taking this book, by the way.
No, I'm not.
just
He
thought
pulled
I-
out another one.
okay,
As a matter of fact, I need, before we go,
Just wanted to be clear.
I got to do this. Okay. My wife puts me on a budget, and well so, because I would be sharp as hell with our lights out. So I leave the house
Jeff is a
with
fool.
gas money and lunch money. If you really gonna support your people, it's supposed to sting. You not supporting me by asking me for a hookup for my shit. I believe in this brother and I believe in his book. Here go my lunch money for your book. I'm not gonna ask you because you came on my show to hook me up with a fucking book. I am so tired of black people not understanding that this is how money really works. It's not about just me giving him this money. It is about perhaps for his next book or his next project being able to say, I moved X number of units. This is one more unit. You got to think that way.
And the production
Put my name in
goes
there.
on.
You want to fold those dollars just to make sure it's no.
No. It's sweaty and balled up, but it's correct.
The pomp and pageantry. The pomp
Now I have lunch money.
Now you got lunch
I get to
money.
eat. You
That's
get to
right.
read.
I get to read. Right on.
So let me just say it
Fair
again.
exchange, I
Let me just
Ain't
say
no
it again,
problem.
man. There are a lot of businesses we promote out here. There's a lot of businesses we try to support Please support AndroidOhm.com. Android like the phone. Ohm, H-O-M-M-E,
Love
luxury
Android Ohm.
snooker brand. You know about them, right?
I love yeah.
I support these guys, man. Android Ohm. If you put in my name, Zoe Williams, ZoWilliams, you're going to get a 25% discount on all of their products. Continue to support the Relationship Dismount, which is now available on Amazon.com in paperback. Please continue to get the Love Matters Revealed CD. That's available at IamZoWilliams.com. Again, we not 100% right about any of the bullshit we talking about. But we have indeed sparked the conversation.
How about
And we want you guys to continue the conversation. And let me say this before we leave. Winnie Mandela, rest in peace, sister. Rest in peace, ancestor. The wife of Nelson Mandela, the rider died.
Yeah, she was gangster.
She was more gangster
She was more gangster than him.
than he was.
She probably ain't fucking with him in the afterlife. Don't even come over here now.
Oh, shit. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Stay your capitulating ass away from me. Where is Marcus Garvey?
Why is she from Wakanda all of a sudden?
Oh, Jesus. But you do know they patterned
Yeah, off of
the language and the speaking style after
yeah.
Mandela and that particular, what is it, Kosi?
Kosi.
They got the
that
click,
that
though.
click.
Kosi. Yeah, basically, that's what it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Zoe Williams. This is the ZoWhat Morning Show. We appreciate you. Dash Talk, we out. Deuces.
Deuces.